Paranoid to the max. The Rollye James Show.
I don't know, paranoid or pragmatic, I'll leave that to you. Noreen Gosch's story is alarming. It should be alarming to you to think that you can have a child kidnapped and that you are being stonewalled by local police. The FBI won't step in. Those who have weighed in are already receiving heat for it. Where do you go from there? Now, this happened in 1982, and we're talking to Noreen now, so clearly she has not given up. Not only not given up on Johnny, who would be edging near 40 by now, but also not given up on getting the word out about what happens with regard to human trafficking. Now, the Johnny Gosch Foundation, I've got a link on Rollye.net to Noreen's site. We'll pick up the story there. And again, you don't put yourself out like this and buck the system without there also being a certain amount of a backlash. What this woman has taken in terms of character assassination and more, what she's taken personally in her life as well, is a price that nobody should have to pay. And we're back to Noreen Gosch in September of 1982. So now it's been a few weeks. You've had your press conference. You've had your first official death threat. You've had the FBI say they're not going to do anything. You've hired a private investigator, and what do you find?
It took us a very long time with private investigators and doing the interviews to find out the information that we now have concerning another car parked in another area, transferring his body.
Right.
All of these things that we were putting together were forming a picture. There were also a lot of what we would call sightings because it aroused the interest of the media, and so I did a lot of television shows, some national ones, and there would always be leads and information coming from those. So we spent a lot of our time checking them out. Many of them were not, anything we could use, but we had to try.
Sure.
Then about 2 years into this, a second newspaper carrier was kidnapped from Des Moines.
Whoa.
That was Eugene Martin. And in that time that had elapsed from Johnny's kidnapping to Eugene's in 1984, I had got a bill passed in the Iowa State Legislature which made it mandatory that the police were to investigate a kidnapping immediately. They could no longer wait 3 days, which is what they were doing in Johnny's case. And the bill was signed into law by the governor July 1st of 1984. Eugene Martin was kidnapped August of 84. So that family was the first family to get to use that bill. And there was a lot of publicity because we now had 2 newspaper carriers gone. They brought in 18 FBI agents. They did searches. They had canine teams. They really did it up, but they still found nothing. 2 years after that, another boy was kidnapped. His name is Mark Allen. And he was just going from his house to a friend's house to study after school.
We should mention,
and he never made it.
Eugene Martin
but all
has
three
never been found.
What was that?
I said we should quickly mention Eugene Martin has never been found.
No, he's never been found.
So no information.
And neither has Mark Allen.
Okay.
All 3 boys were right at 12 or 13 years old.
At the time, right.
And 2 of them, Johnny and Eugene, were paper carriers. Mark Allen was not, that I know of.
Right.
And his case, Mark Allen's, did not receive a lot of publicity, as the other 2 did. It was almost as though they tried to suppress it. Because if you have 3 kidnappings of this nature in a city, that's panic time for families.
It should be, and they're all 2 years apart.
It should be.
Yeah, they're all 2 years apart. They're all about the same age, same M.O. pretty much. This should be.
And yet what is strange on all this, Rollye, is that I was the only one beating the drum.
What about the other parents? Where were the other parents?
It was just incredible to me that everybody wanted this just to go away.
Now, how about
like
the
it was an embarrassment to the city.
But the parents of Eugene and Mark, why were they not alongside you saying, just wait a minute?
I think they were intimidated by the law enforcement. They were told not to talk to me. They were told not to do this, not to talk to the media, things of that nature. And I think that many parents are squashed down like that. I was not.
Right.
I did not allow them to dictate to me what I could do. The other parents did, and therefore their cases just went down. Johnny's case still is very active, even though we don't have the final resolution. What I would like to see for these young boys who have been so tragically taken from their families and put through literal hell in their lives, I would like to see justice for these boys.
Oh,
all
yeah.
of them.
What I'd really like to see is
something that would give them back what has been taken from them. Nothing will ever be the same, but what has happened is such a horrific thing. And yet, 3 big cases on the books here in town and nothing done. People cannot, from other areas, cannot believe this.
Now, when I was looking on justiceforjohnnygosch.com, it had said that you received information prior to the Eugene Martin kidnapping. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. There was a man in Des Moines that contacted me, said he had information that there was going to be a second kidnapping. It would be on the second Sunday in August of 1984, and it would be another newspaper carrier, and it would be the south side of Des Moines. And I tape recorded the meeting with him, and I took that tape to the Des Moines police. They did not want to listen to it. They said to me that they thought that I had gone over the edge. So then I took the tape and I went to the Des Moines Register and to the TV stations, and I gave the information to the station managers and to the one reporter that was constantly working on Johnny's case. Then August came, and the second kidnapping took place on the day and the same location that the man had said. Mm-hmm. And yet, the police were not interested in who the man was. I gave them his name, but nothing ever happened to him either.
Did you go to television and all that when you heard there was going to be another kidnapping to say, hey, you might want to warn the public?
Yes, I did. I went to every one of them.
Were they willing to put that on the air?
They didn't put it on the air. They listened to me.
Right, but they wouldn't.
And that's all.
Right.
And then the morning of the kidnapping of Eugene Martin, I received a phone call very early in the morning, and it was a reporter at one of the TV stations. And he said, Mrs. Gosch, it happened. The second kidnapping just took place a few minutes ago, and they're treating it as a kidnapping, and the FBI are bringing in FBI agents from Quantico. And he said, you were right. And I said, well, how do you know? I didn't speak to you. I spoke to your station manager. And he said, yeah, but he came into the newsroom after you left, and we were all laughing because they thought you were nuts. And I said, well, what do you think now?
Yeah.
Because the man, for whatever reason, gave me that information. I have no idea why, what his purpose was, but he was accurate.
Did you ever, well, firstly, I ought to get to the real, interesting part of this for anybody is that I also saw online that allegedly you have at one point since that kidnapping seen Johnny.
I had been invited to be on 2 network TV shows in December of 1996.
Okay.
And on the show, it was the Lisa Gibbons show.
All right, I remember that.
She asked if I would like to give a personal message to my son in case he would watch it. And she invited all the mothers to do that. So I did. And my message was, I will do anything I can to help you. I still live in the same city, but not in the house that you grew up in. you'll find my name in the phone book and my address.